is the brutally honest truth of the future of the New Orleans Saints. We have a GM in office that is in complete denial. We've heard him defend Dennis Allen. We know how he defends Dennis Allen. I'm not going to sit here and drag you back through it again. YouTube and Google are a beautiful thing if you want to put yourself back through that. The Saints are convinced that they can still win now. And that is the furthest thing from the case. I will never doubt my favorite team ever wanting to win now, because that's the attitude you should have. You're a professional football franchise for a reason. Your goal is to sell tickets, get asses in seats, and drive up ratings because of the results you're putting out. But we have a GM that says good teams, man, good organizations, man, they look beyond the results. I'm not even going to dive deep into that. With the position the Saints are in, it sounds worse, but really what Mickey means is, yes, the record can tell you everything, but you do have to take into account the injuries. But are you taking into account your head coach? Are you taking into account your head coach? I can't even spin it on anything else. Are you taking that into account? The reason the future looks so brutally, I wouldn't even say dark or grim, but again, just the brutally honest truth of the state of the Saints right now. When Mr. Benson passed away, Mickey Loomis was left in Mr. Benson's will. And Mr. Benson said when he passed that the team was going to be left to his wife, the president of the Saints, Dennis Lauscha, and Mickey Loomis would act as the executor, or the problem solver, rather. I know executor is the one who actually executes the will. But if there was a disagreement between Miss Benson and Mr. Lauscha, that Mickey would step in. Mickey was given Mr. Benson's blessing. Dennis Allen also has a chance to have the final say. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. That's totally wrong. Excuse me. Totally wrong name. Not even the right title for what we're going for here. But with Mickey Loomis being left in Mr. Benson's will and the Saints just spiraling to the point that they are, I don't want to sit here and believe that Miss Benson would have to sell the team in order for Mickey Loomis not to be the GM. But in a way, that is almost what it's looking like for the Saints. Does the owner and do the GM have the gumption to do what is needed, to cut bait with some of these players, to have Dennis Allen fired as head coach? Because the Saints were one of the worst organizations in sports before the Sean Payton and Drew Brees era. As we know, that's not a question. A lot of people very nervous, very curious if the Saints are going to be able to get back to a point of winning after the Sean Payton and Drew Brees era. I believe the culture that they set and just the sheer aura that they put off being in this organization, that's rubbed off on others. There will be more leaders and other great players hopefully emerge from that. So I have faith that the Saints can maybe not blossom back to what they were with Sean Payton and Drew Brees, but can at least get back to an era of championship winning football because we've experienced it. Sean Payton was here for 15 years. He had us in contention for about half of those, and he brought us a chip. He took us to 3 NFC title games. Sean did his job. But when he gave the blessing to Dennis Allen is falling short on his promises, losing record as a coach. 26-52, 26-51, 33% winning percentage. We'll just say that because that's what's mattered. In the bottom rankings of coaches that have coached as many games as he has and lost as many games as he has. So it's quite embarrassing. The future of the Saints is quite literally going to fall on Gayle Benson. Because the head coaching is everything for this team right now. It's everything that this team is being subject to. Of course, the injuries are horrible. But if the coaching was better, we probably wouldn't be that upset about the injuries, because look at the way that injuries are affecting a lot of people in the league, and look at how teams are able to overcome it. Now, not everybody can have an Andy Reid at their disposal. Not everybody can try to pivot as well as Kyle Shanahan's trying to do right now with his injuries. Not everybody can necessarily do that, but you have to have competence at the head coaching position. And I hope there's enough of a takeaway for this from you guys because again, I don't want to sit here and talk about how bad this team is because we know that. Okay, they're injured on offense, the defense is disappearing, and the head coach is just he's in over his skis. He is in over his head. That's very clear. But with Mickey Loomis being the general manager of this team, doing the hirings, doing the firings, having that influence in the draft, really believing that they can still win now, believing that Dennis Allen can be it. You have to look at the results, not beyond the results. The future of the Saints can be brutally honest for this team in the coming years. They're not really out of cap hell until 2026. They've got some bad contracts with veteran players that people are very curious if they can offload. And it's going to be make or break for the future of this franchise, not make or break season by season, but like each move that's made over these next few seasons is really going to lay out the next decade or so for the New Orleans Saints. And it's always been out of the fans' hands. It's really out of the players' hands. It's up to that front office and the ownership of the team. And that's where we've always said it's really mattered and it's really important.